Hey everyone, this is Steven Robles, and today I want to tell you how I prepare to record some of my tech-related podcasts. I do multiple podcasts a week. I do one about movies, which is a different kind of preparation. I could do that. Leave a comment below this video if you want me to talk about preparing for that podcast. But when it comes to recording my tech-related podcasts, whether it's Apple Insider or HomeKit Insider, I have a pretty methodical process for gathering research, articles, headlines, putting my own thoughts down. And so I want to cover all of that, the process from beginning to end, sharing that note, even up to recording that podcast with all that preparation done. Now, when I get ready to start researching for an upcoming show, let's say it's a show about technology, about Apple stuff, the first thing I'm going to do is start my note. Now, I actually do this in Apple Notes, even though Apple Notes isn't my preferred note-taking app. I do it in Apple Notes because I'm going to share this with people. I want it to sync across all my devices. And this is where I know all my notes for recording shows are going to live. So I start my note, I put the title and the date for the upcoming show at the top. Typically, I'll put the sponsors, which I give a shout out at the beginning of the show. I'll put that at the top of the note, and I'll put their names there just so I know who they are. And then if there's anything I want to do at the top of the show, like giving some shout outs to 5-star reviewers, I'll put that at the top of the note as well. And now I'm ready to start gathering articles and links for things we want to talk about on the upcoming show. Now for this part, I go old school in how I actually look at the news for technology. I use RSS feeds. And I do that because, I'll pull links from Twitter and social media that I see there, or if I'm on a website and I see an article. But when I need to quickly look at all the news at a glance and pull the specific articles that I want to talk about, I find a really good RSS reader app is one of the best ways to do that. And then I have some shortcuts that I'll show you for pulling those links cleanly into this Apple Note. So I use the app called Reader, that's R-E-E-D-E-R. I put all the RSS feeds for the news websites that I follow in this app, and then I can browse the news right here. Let's say I want to pull this article about the OLED shift for iPad Pro. I see the article here, but I'm not going to read it yet. I really am just looking at the headlines first to see what articles I want to talk about and maybe research a little more later. And I'll do that the night before we record. But right now I'm just gathering articles, gathering links so I can research them later. So when I hit the share button, I actually have this shortcut that is Note Links. And I do this because it cleans the link. It takes away any reference like question mark UTM, all that kind of stuff from the link, puts it on the clipboard, and allows me to jump into a specific Apple Note all in that one shortcut. Now I could do this side by side on my iPad. I can do this on my iPhone easily, or I can do it on my Mac. And that's an important thing. I want to be able to research the articles, see what I want to use on any device, whether I'm on my phone, maybe I'm waiting somewhere and I want to take advantage of those few minutes, or I'm already working on my Mac and I want to jump into what articles are popular right now. I want to be able to do this process on any device. So that's why I use Reader, which is available on Mac, iPad, and iPhone, and it syncs your feeds. So once I mark feeds as unread, it actually syncs across all my devices, and I don't have to worry about looking at articles duplicately. I don't have to worry about seeing the same article twice once I've marked it as read, which is really a useful feature. So once I've gathered all the links that I'm interested in looking up, I have the Apple Note up. Usually the night before I record a podcast, I'll actually click on each of those links that I added and read the article, pull out any pertinent information that I want to refer to, so I don't have to try and look at my web browser while I'm recording the podcast. I want to be able to just look at this note and see all the information that I want while recording in one place. And so you'll see I'll go down and you'll see the links that I've added. I'll typically do kind of like a little separator here for a title like iPhone SE. I'll write down the bullet points, the things that I want to remember to talk about while I record the podcast. And again, maybe it's multiple links. And then if someone asks a question on Twitter and I want to make sure to mention that during the show, I'll actually take a screenshot of that tweet and put it right here in the Apple Note. Again, Apple Notes is great at going back and forth with an image embedded, a link, and all that. One of the reasons, by the way, why I don't share a link directly to an Apple Note using the share menu is a lot of times it uses that rich thumbnail. It'll kind of have a picture and it'll make it into a card in the Apple Note. And I don't want that because I'm actually going to use a shortcut to then format all these links later. And if they're in that format with the rich image and it looks like a little card, it doesn't work the same way. And so I just want a plain URL here in my notes so I can then use a shortcut later to format all this easily. So I'll go through all the links the night before, again, putting down bullet points of interest, keeping the links here, putting any tweets that I want to mention or talk about. And then that'll be my note that I refer to when I record the podcast. I'll also change the order of topics. If I feel like there's a big topic that I don't want to bury the lead and put it at the end, I'll put it at the beginning of the note to make sure I cover it. And then I'll just go down the note as I record the podcast. And of course, leave room for rabbit trails or, if there's a good conversation happening, I don't want to rush it. And again, one of the reasons why I want to put the least important topics at the bottom, because if we run out of time while recording, I just won't mention those. We'll cut those out, maybe save it for another time, copy and paste those into a note for the next week's show. Now, once I have this whole note, the points of interest, I've now recorded the podcast. Now I actually want to format all the links that I pulled for the podcast show notes. And to format them, I want it to be in an HTML format where I can just copy and paste either in a blog publisher that takes HTML, and maybe I also want it in a rich text version to put in my podcast hosting provider like Buzzsprout. And so I actually have a shortcut that does both. It'll actually format all these links, skipping any plain text and bullet points, and format it both in HTML and also just with a rich text title and link, and then I can copy and paste those wherever I need it. I'll show you real quick what it looks like when I run this. If you want me to go in depth on what this shortcut does, leave a comment below. I can make another video showing kind of what all of it does. It takes Amazon links and adds an affiliate tag on the end of it. It'll take YouTube links and get the YouTube description. It does a bunch of stuff all at once in this shortcut. Plus I have some custom text depending on who my co-host was or what kind of show it was. And it has some pre-filled text that I use in the show notes every week. So I don't have to do that manually every time. It's just included in the shortcut. Now, once I have all that formatted links and text ready to go, I'll actually paste that into my preferred note application, which is Bear. Bear is available on iPhone, iPad, and Mac. It uses Markdown, so if you want to write in Markdown, I've really enjoyed doing that. It supports that. It also does pretty well if you just want to use HTML and just rich text all together in OneNote. And so I'll paste that notes and all the sponsors and the links that formatted through that shortcut right here in the Bear note. And from Bear, then I'll put it where it needs to go, either my podcast host or in a publisher for an article. And I have it all here in one place in my Bear note. I also have just the plain links there in case I need to reformat that in any kind of way. And then it's ready to go. So once I've done editing the podcast, I have my notes ready and I can publish it on either my podcast hosting platform or do an article for a website, and it's all ready to go. So I hope that helps you kind of give a glimpse into what it looks like to research and get some news together for recording a podcast, and then using that note that you use when recording to format it later for your episode show notes. Again, I can go more in depth into some of those shortcuts if you're interested. Leave a comment below, and of course, like this video if you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I got lots of tips and tutorials on podcasting, building a website, Apple products. Let me know what you'd like to hear about in the comments of this video as well. You can also follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is below and in the show notes. And again, check out all the videos going on the channel. Lots of stuff, new videos every week. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.